Welcome to Courtside Moms. I'm your host, Wendy Sparks. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Sanciarhea Jones, mother of Brionna Jones of the Connecticut Suns and Stephanie Jones, who just signed with the Washington Mystics. Sanciarhea, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Did I say your name correctly?
You did. You did. You did. Perfect.
Amen. Amen. I love that. So, before we get into your journey with Brionna, let's first hear about you as a sports mom. I know you coached your daughters at one point, so tell us about that.
I enjoyed coaching them. That was like the highlight of my life. I spent my days, coaching them for as long as I could until I felt like they had outgrown me. And once I felt they had outgrown me or outgrown the group of girls that could help advance them, I wanted them to move on. So I kept a few of the girls with them as we would travel. They would come with me. And those girls that I had also did very well. Not as great as my daughters, but they did get into college and play. So it was a wonderful experience. I would do it all over again. It was great coaching Brionna. And I did have Stephanie also. Stephanie was there with the Connecticut Suns last year. This year, she just moved to the Mystics as of last night. So.
That is fantastic. You know what? You're a mom of two WNBA players. I mean, be proud, Mom.
I am very proud. Very proud.
Yes, as you should be. Well, I was just saying earlier before I jumped on, the season starts tonight. So
right.
And then your daughters are playing this weekend.
Right. And I'll go up to New York and watch Brionna play tomorrow.
Wow. The life of a courtside mom.
Right. Yeah. I mean, coaching them, they were like the easiest people to coach. They were very, very coachable. Bree was always there. She was my big that took care of the paint for me and, took care of the lane and nobody came in and, she was just awesome to coach. Awesome. I knew I could get my points from her. She's been who she is from day one. Even when she was a little girl, she could, get you 20 points quite easily. You just give her the ball. And she always had great mitts, as they always call her hands. She could catch anything. So, and she still does. If you can get it near her, she will catch it. So, but that was never an issue with her, playing and the skills and, teaching her. She was very, very teachable, as I said, and just placing her there and practicing with her, whatever you taught her. She could come back and show you.
So take us back to when you noticed the first time that your daughters loved basketball.
Oh, in my house, I have two boys also. I have an older son, and they always had little basketball goals. So, in the house as babies. And they were always around dunking on the baby goals because they were always much bigger than everybody else. And as far as, the equipment and stuff that was around, they were, able to just, really play. And they enjoyed it. I mean, probably 5 or 6. I think Stephanie started playing at 4. She could always kind of dribble and, move herself around with handling the ball. And Bree was like, I'm just going in the paint and I'll be there in the paint. But, a lot of times we would push her out and say, no, you can't just be in the paint. You're going to have to handle the ball so that you understand the different positions. If you understand how it is when the guard is coming down the floor and bringing the ball and how difficult that position is, then you'll be fine when you're in the post and you're helping her to move yourself around to adjust your body to receive the ball. So those things were done with her. And Stephanie kind of migrated into the post after we moved down in Fairfax Stars when they played with the Fairfax Stars. But she had always been our point guard to Bree when they were little. She was the one that brought the ball down, and got the ball to Bree and shot. And she didn't like to share as much as Bree. Bree would, kick it back out. Stephanie, I was like, okay, Stephanie, you have to make one pass and one shot, one pass and one shot. And then now she's kind of gotten away from that. And I'm like, oh, You need to take a little bit more, a few more shots. Mommy, sorry for, but yeah, they have always loved the game, even, as little girls. I mean, they spent their days outside playing with their brothers, with the neighbors coming in. Stephanie was the one that came in more often, throwing her book bag up against the garage and going to the backyard and shooting all the time. Bree was more I need a book. I'm doing my homework first. And they were both very, very smart and, did well in school. But Bree was like, I'll go out later.
So I read somewhere, I don't remember where, that you have a basketball family, a competitive family where you used to do 3-on-3. So talk about that competitive nature where you would play sometimes girls against boys, or you guys just get together and have that family basketball game.
That was like the best times ever, until it got to the point where I was like, I don't think I fit in this anymore. My feet don't move as well anymore. And but it was great. The 3-on-3, we would, just get out in the yard and play in the backyard. We didn't have like concrete or anything in the back. It was just a regular, grass yard and hoops, and we just play, and nobody wanted to lose. Nobody wanted to lose. So it was on. If we played girls on girls, the girls would be fighting till the end. The boys would be fighting till the end. And, and even when they would play 2-on-2 and they would go out in the yard, I would just kind of close the blinds because I knew the tears were coming. Yeah. Somebody lost, somebody, threw an elbow, or somebody got hit, somebody just wasn't happy unless they won. And then that would come in. My oldest son was probably the one that won. He would win quite a few at that point. And then it got to a point, oh, wait a minute, girls were like, we're going to fight for this,
That's right. I love that competitive nature, though, because that just made them who they are now, right? You know what I mean? Fearless on the court, and that's what counts.
Mm-hmm. And they are. Like I said, I can remember going in the yard with Bree, and I think probably by 8th grade. No, it wasn't even 8th. But 7th or 8th grade, she hit me, and I thought my spine had been kind of shaking a little bit, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna be the passer from now on.
Yeah. You're like, man, I can't even ground you.
No, and it was no moving her. She could go and get her position, and
she's naturally doing what she should do.
And who you see is who she. What I say is she's always been. If you watch videos and everything, I can even remember one of the little boys when she was like probably 7 or 8. In those early years, she was playing, and we looked up, and the little boy went run into the stands to his family, and we were like, "Oh, Bree, come on!" But she hadn't done anything wrong. She was just playing the game.
Right. So, where did Bree go to high school? And tell us about the impact that she had on the program.
Bree went to Aberdeen High School, and so did Stephanie. Mm-hmm. They were in the Math and Science Academy there, which is a very high-level program. And originally, Bree wanted to be a doctor, and that's what, even when she went to college, she was like, well, I'm just going to go to college. I'll play basketball, but, and when I'm done, I'll go to medical school, and because she had gone through that program.
Right.
And, but the impact that she had on Aberdeen has been, phenomenal. They still, I see things now that still pop up, about her being the number one player to come out of Aberdeen High School. I think they won the first 2 state championships that, have ever been there at Aberdeen. So, they did change the culture for a while there. It's a little, not quite there right now, but, for the past 7 or 8 years since they've been gone, it's been one of the top programs in the area.
So what were the games like throughout the years when she attended the school, and how did they differ from when Stephanie was there?
Well, Bree, the the team that Bree had been her AAU team that she traveled with when she was younger. It was a group of girls that she started out with when she was 9 or 10 years old, and they had always played together. And that group of girls stayed together as an AAU program, and they were great girls. I mean, great to play with, just a great group to be around. Fun. Just an enjoyable situation for her, and just the right girls, because and then her addition with her size was perfect for them to be able to dominate in the area. Everybody wanted to play us. Everybody would call, and they were asking to play them because they were considered the best players. We want to measure up and see where we are.
That's amazing. So all of that greatness got her recognized by some colleges. So let's talk about your college recruitment process as a family. She received scholarship letters from South Carolina, Delaware, Virginia, they're all in my head, Georgetown, and Maryland.
There were schools that sent letters and letters. I mean, my mailbox was, I'm sure as you know as a mother, how it can be with, you go to your mailbox like, there's so many pieces of mail and you're like, oh, I can't sift through this. And everybody's sending something almost like every other day you're getting, pieces of mail. She kind of narrowed it down because she really wanted to stay close to home. Oh. And she looked at Virginia and who else was South Carolina. We talked with South Carolina. Mm-hmm. But like I said, she really wanted to stay closer to home. And it was just the perfect fit. When we talked to Coach Freeze, she talked to us about Bree as far as, the way Bree was built. And some of us were concerned with Bree's size, and, but what she said to us, we like her as she is. She will change as she's with us, as she grows as a player. Right. And I mean, those were like the words we needed to hear, because we didn't want somebody to say, well, because of her size, we're going to end up sitting you on the bench, or, no, we needed someone to say, you are who you are. You have good feet.
That's it.
We can see your skills. You have good skills. You can catch the ball. You're a scorer. These are the things that we see in you. We followed you enough to know who you are, and rather than,
beautiful,
someone saying, we don't know how she'll pan out here, or, what will go on, So
it's important to find a program that can fit with our kids, and then a program that our kids can fit with, right? So it's a two-way street.
And as she always said, with the University of Maryland, it was the perfect place for her. And Stephanie did too. Stephanie said, this was the perfect place for me. But through that recruitment, I mean, they took visits to a few schools and everything, but just knowing that you've got somebody that showed you that they cared enough about you, and they were right in what they found out in that program, that there was someone there that cared enough about them to make sure that not only was basketball taken care of, but them as people, that this is not just the only thing you're going to do in life. There's other things that you're going to do. Yes, this is important, very, very important. It keeps me my job. It keeps me, where I need to be.
Right.
But, we're going to still do fun things. Just the fact that them being at Maryland has helped them with being overseas, I think, because they traveled, they had those overseas trips that they received, with the program. So those were perfect for them. And when they went overseas, they weren't so afraid of being overseas because they'd had that experience.
Good. Actually, we're going to get to the overseas shortly. That's an experience that I love to talk about because it's so different for every player. But when looking at Bree, I'll start with Bree, looking at her college career, she is now known as one of the school's most dominant post players of all time. She led in field goal percentages. She led her team to back-to-back Final Fours. and to 3 Big Ten regular season titles, and was named multiple National Player of the Year in
Right.
2017, which is the year that she graduated and went to the draft. She achieved so much. So take us back to that ceremony now, where you watched your baby's jersey
Oh my.
become retired and honored for all that she's achieved.
Well, for me, that was like the most exciting time
Yeah.
because all the work I know that she put into this, as far as, the practices, the traveling up and down the road, the days spent, because we would travel from here to Fairfax, Virginia, which is like almost 100 miles from our house, and they would sit in the back, of the car and do homework, and all those things are going through my head, and I'm going, wow, this all paid off,
Yeah.
all the trips, all the, hard work, the tears, the, you know, bear crawls and everything else that I watched her do on the floor, all the layups, all the shooting, everything has paid off for her. And she's gotten more than her dream, more than she could possibly have dreamed for,
Yeah.
at this point. Like I said, her dream was to be a doctor. She graduated from college in 3 years, and
Wow.
she spent her 4th year working on her pre-med stuff. So that was still just ingrained in her head, that, and even as a little girl, that was all she talked about, was those things. So for this to happen, it was like phenomenal. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my, she's going to have her jersey put in the rafters. Unbelievable. It was like, as a little girl, you go into that gym, and we've been going for years, and you see all the jerseys, that are there, but you don't realize what goes into getting those jerseys, the hard work, the intensity, the, the blood, the tears. I mean, because when she went into Maryland also, she had torn her ACL her senior year. So she wasn't ready to play when she immediately went in. And so she didn't start or anything. She came off the bench, and, it was just a slow work in for her. But, I was just in disbelief. It's still kind of hard when I go in the gym and I look up and I'm like, oh, there's Bree,
The best. Isn't that the best feeling ever?
But this is who she is. She was always that person that came home with the trophies. Even through high school. So if I think about it, that's who she is.
You know what? She earned that.
She earns that.
You know what? People need to understand that it's not easy.
No,
to get your jersey on the rafters. If that's the case, then they would be packed. You know what I mean? They will be full of different names, and you know what I mean? They would have to not bother retiring numbers, because there'll be no numbers left, and by now we'd be like player number 102 and 105, and so no, it's such an amazing
and I always thought it symbolic, that she had the number 42. So, I always thought, you're changing the way basketball is being played, because you are a true post player. You are a true back to the basket, skillful player to the basket. Whereas, the hybrid player, she wasn't that hybrid player. And that was, kind of some people's drawback. They thought that maybe, she would limit our play, or she, can't do this to just, she's not a 6'7", 6'8" player that's in the post, but a 6'3" player. And she's been able to dominate with her, back to the basket, and do all the things that she's done, and be that tough player, that everybody has to guard, that make coaches stop and think, are we going to send 2 or are we going to send 3?
There's nothing better than that, eh? When you're watching a game, watching your baby play.
As you know, with the post players, we're going to need some help today. Hey, coach, hey, here she comes. I could hear people on the floor sometimes yelling, I got her. but I need some help. Come here, come help me, And
I
the
love
good
it.
thing about Bree, she was always that player that would, kick the ball back out because she could read the double
Yep.
teams, the triple teams coming. And,
Yep.
nothing's changed. She's in the pros now and they still are double teaming or asking,
Yep.
well, can we get some help?
Gotta love that. So, what was it like for you to witness, actually both of your daughters preparing for the WNBA draft? So I know Brionna was drafted and Stephanie went undrafted.
Right.
So just tell us the difference and what does preparing for the draft entail for the WNBA?
Coach Freeze did that. Coach Freeze did. I think your work is pretty much done by the time you get there. I mean, it's your portfolio or everything that you've done over the years that will get you there, hopefully. And like you've said, Bree had that portfolio. She has that jersey in the rafters for a reason. She has those consistent points as far as her percentages. She ended up with 69% percentages as for scoring for 2 years in a row, or I think it was 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
Like that. But she has those things that made it easy for her to be drafted. Now she went number 8, but mommy thinks differently. But anyway, that's just mommy. That is just mommy. But like I said, sometimes it makes you fight harder. It makes you, let people know that, hey, when you see me, you remember, I didn't get your vote, but I don't need it right now. I want it, and I wanted it then, but I'll fight for it. I'm not backing down, and I'm not giving up. And that perseverance piece with the girls has been their probably saving grace because they've been, just willing to just keep fighting no matter what goes on. I just need to work a little harder. I just need to work a little harder. I don't like losing, and if it means you giving me the ball at this moment and I can make it happen, I will make it happen. And
Absolutely. I mean, my son went undrafted in 2014, and now this is he's been playing professional basketball. He went overseas first, went to Turkey, then Greece, and now he's in his 5th year in the NBA. So, like you said, that perseverance of that keep pushing. It doesn't mean it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen on draft night.
Right.
And Stephanie's that example of that. So amen to her. Good for her. Like, congratulations.
Yeah, Stephanie was my fighter. Bree was more, we'll take a book out and talk about it. Stephanie was my fighter. And, she, even with Coach Freeze, her senior year, she kind of got pushed to the bench a little bit. And, I was like, this is a life lesson for you. That was my biggest conversation with her. That's unacceptable. That is unacceptable that you sit there. If you want to sit there, then you sit there and you moan and you groan about it. Or you sit there and you learn to fight. You get up, you go in every day and you do what you're supposed to be doing to get yourself better. And if it's, going to get extra shots in or, talking to the coaches and what do I need to do? What do I need to work? And she did. I mean, and she fought her way back into, doing what she was supposed to do. She didn't get drafted. And, she was a little sad when, you see your friends getting drafted and you don't get, as you know, with your son probably also.
Yep.
And she had it even harder because, my sister was drafted. So, my hopes and dreams, I've always followed my sister because, that's what I do. And I've got to keep up with her as much as I possibly can. And, but she went overseas and we all stood at the airport and cried. Oh, we're gonna send you overseas. Bree was like, when they went overseas, I'm going. But Stephanie a little bit more teary. But she's like, this is what I want. This is my dream. This from when she was a little girl, she's like, Mommy, I'm going to be in the WNBA. My mom, I'm going to be in the WNBA. And for her to finally make it was
Yeah.
like, oh, just thrilling for her, to get
Jeez.
that call to say, I am going to be here. I mean, the happiest person in the whole world, and I thank the Connecticut Suns for giving her that year, with them there, So,
Yeah.
it showed that she is capable of being there, and she's learned to work hard, and even overseas, like I said, she's done well.
Yeah. To get that call, to be told
Mhm.
you are going to be one of the 144 in the world.
And that's what I tell people. I said, when I think about it, there's only 144 girls. They're only keeping 133 this year. I'm disappointed in the fact that, that the women have 10% of the amount that the men have, with $1 million and $300,000 that they have to split between 11 girls. I mean, that's what some players get for 1 year.
Yeah.
Or,
6 months.
Mhm.
But yeah, and that's just a fight that will continue for years to come, right?
Yes,
For
yes.
gender
I hope it
equality in
changes.
sports.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's we fight that as women always. I mean, it's still, that inequity that, is there. And I don't understand. We as women dominate the world because there's more of us, but we can't seem to quite support us, that money piece. So, maybe
One
things will
day.
change.
Yes. Let's throw that out in the universe and see what sticks and see what happens, right? And let's see if we can get more sponsorship of the WNBA, more viewership of the WNBA.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All these wonderful things that come with the money that can pay these women the money that they deserve because they work just as hard as anybody else.
So that they don't have to spend their whole year,
That's right.
No vacations or, a week here or, hopefully the Olympics show up and we can get a week off here or 2 weeks to go somewhere because they pretty much come home and go from one place to the next. They came home for a couple of days and then they were gone.
Yeah, it was just like after they graduate, they go right from graduating and they're professional basketball players if they're drafted like a week later, 2 weeks tops later most of the time.
Right.
So it's just nonstop for women
and that's
athletes,
what it's been
right?
for them.
Yeah. Yeah. I tip my hat because, when I go on my brisk walk, I complain. And I'm thinking, man, you do this once every couple of days. These women, they're playing hard, they're practicing, they're traveling, they're on the road, they're in different countries, they're doing all these things. So I always say, I used to play basketball too, right? But at one point, for me, I was like, okay, this is great. I'm happy I made it to this level. I'm good. I didn't want to go overseas and I didn't want to it just wasn't my interest as much as I love basketball. And then here I have my babies and I'm like, oh, this is cool. You like basketball? Let's see what happens. And now we are where we are.
And for my girls, that was their choice. And even my oldest son went overseas also. But that was their choice. This was the life they wanted to live. They wanted that basketball life. They was like, this is what I've done. This is what I know. This is what I enjoy.
Yes.
I eat, live, breathe this. So
yeah.
And like I said, it wasn't our. I don't think we forced it on them. I mean, because they had their choices of what they wanted to do in life. I always left it. If you don't want to play, there's the band, there's, other things that you can do, but this is your life.
Yeah. But they chose what naturally came to them, right? Which is basketball.
Right.
So good for them. And they made a career out of it. But they made a career out of it also, you know what I mean? It's like, they love basketball. I mean, I love basketball, but you know what I mean? Like I said, it ends at one point. Like you were saying, you were coaching and then you're like, okay, at one point, these are my limits. Like I knew my limits. I'm like, okay, we're good.
Right.
You know what I mean? For them, it's like, okay, hold on a second. My limit is a little bit higher than most. Let me see. And like I said, now you have two girls that are part of, you know what I mean? Part of the WNBA. So congratulations. And we were talking before about overseas. So let's talk about that experience. We both know a lot of women play overseas during the WNBA's off season. So let's start with Brianna first. How did she select which country she wanted to play for? And what factors did she consider, in your opinion, of course, prior to making her final decision?
Ah, it still comes down to the money piece, you know, who's
Yeah,
going to pay the most. And
absolutely.
we'll just
Yeah.
start with that. And
Yep.
so she did end up in Russia
Yep.
with that. And then, you know, we didn't know anything about, you know, where, you know, about, you know, girls traveling overseas or, you know, what they would be doing as far as, you know, the countries and, you know, how the basketball programs or which ones were the best. And she actually picked Russia because that was Euro League. And they both
Yeah.
really wanted to play in the Euro League, but you know, that was the reason Bree went to Russia because that was the team that picked her that was playing in the Euro League. So,
Right.
you know, she wanted that competition. She wanted that high level competition so that she could get better,
Yeah. See?
playing
Uh,
against playing against the best of the best.
Absolutely. And I love that because there are different factors that people consider when choosing teams.
Mhm.
And this morning I was sitting there, I was like, wow, there's just so much more. Like you said, there's the money piece, of course, because no
Mhm.
one's trying to leave their family, leave their country, go
Right.
across the world for nothing. But you consider your salary, but then you also have to consider the language barrier and the culture and all these different
Well,
things, right?
the language barrier wasn't really a factor because she said, you know, all the girls spoke English.
Oh, even better.
And,
Even
and
better.
her coach spoke English also, so there was
Oh,
no issues with that. And while she was in Russia, they aren't allowed to drive themselves around. So she always had a driver if she wanted to go to the store or anything, or you know, get picked up to be taken to the gym or whatever. Somebody came by and picked her up. I was like, "Great, that's the life. I need that."
I tell you.
So,
I,
so she did enjoy playing there. She enjoyed playing with the girls and with the team that she played with in Russia. But yeah, the main factor was, you know, like
of
I said,
course.
yeah,
Listen, it is what it is, and that's what it is for most. That's why they go in the
that's
first
it.
place.
It is.
So
It is.
they're not leaving for nothing. They're leaving for salary. So of course it makes sense that that is the number
And
one
and you know,
factor.
it has paid off for her
Amen.
with playing in the Euro League. You know,
Right.
she's gotten a lot better as you know the competition because now I've got to either lead my team as she did in Russia, pretty much, you know, or we're not going to win.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you know,
See, okay. I love that. So did you get a chance to go to Russia? And then after that she went to
well,
Czechoslovakia,
you have
right?
to be invited into Russia,
Yeah.
and I had other things that were kind of going on in my life that I couldn't make that trip in.
I feel
You
you.
know,
I couldn't go to Turkey and Greece either.
yeah.
So
Okay, all right, yeah,
listen.
but and I offered to go to. I wanted to go this year to Prague, where she's you know
Yeah.
Republic, and Poland. But then the war started. Now they were like, no, don't come because you know I didn't know if they would get shipped home and then I'd be stuck
Yeah.
there. And you know I said, okay, I'm not. You know I didn't go.
Yeah, well, there's so many different factors, right? I mean, there was COVID as well, and there's
Mhm.
just
Well,
other reasons.
well,
That's right.
this was toward the end of COVID here, but
Right.
you know once
Right.
the Ukraine war started, then
Do you ever get a chance to watch these games
oh, that is
online?
every day. I'm at work usually with my little phone, like,
Yeah,
hey, keep it moving.
that's me. That's me literally walking around with my phone, watching my
Mhm.
son
Yeah.
playing Greece or
Yeah,
Turkey and trying to find the channel, scrolling through. I'm like, oh my God, I didn't know what it says. So
or getting up early in the morning, you know, 8 o'clock in
yep,
the morning, or you know, so they can, you know, I can catch their
yep.
game. So yeah,
So
I watch probably every game that's probably loaded, and if I can't get it that day, I'll wait, you know, a few days when it comes in when they
right,
loaded them
right.
up. So yeah, that you do have the opportunity. Like, okay, I get to see her, you know, every other day or so.
Hmm. Absolutely. So Brianna had quite the season last year.
Mm.
She was selected as a 2021 WNBA All-Star. She received
Woo-hoo.
the 2021 WNBA Most Improved Player Award and was also named the WNBA all defensive second team. The Suns made it to the Eastern Finals last year. So bring us through that season and then to that last game.
Oh, the best season of my life. I don't know about hers, but it was my. um, yeah, I started out, and that's what I always tell them. Thank you. I know it's on your sweat, and that I get to enjoy going different places. To Chicago, and then to Vegas, and to all these places. So, just the best time ever. I enjoy still just going and sitting in the stands and cheering for them, and watch the camaraderie with all the girls, and all the girls seeing me in the stands. Hey, Miss Jones, you here again? Oh, Miss Jones, you made this one too. And they got to a point last summer that they were like, all right, you're everywhere this summer, Miss Jones. I was like, yeah, I'm making it, to all the games, which, doesn't always happen with me, with having other children that, were in different places or doing different things, and having to, do things for them also.
But last year you had both girls on the team.
I did. Oh, that was the perfect life.
Yes.
That was perfect. I'm like, this doesn't happen often. And I thank Connecticut Sun and Coach Miller, the program for, having both of them on the team, being one of those 144, I don't ever forget, and I tell the girls, you were 144. I said, do you know how many millions of girls play, start out their life wanting to get to where you are? I said, you have to be that person that shows that, this is, the best life ever. This is what I enjoy doing. I've gotten here. I met my goals in life.
Yeah.
Those early goals anyway.
Amen. And I'm sure they got more goals, right? As do we as parents, right? We have our goals, our kids have their goals.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's nothing better than sitting there and just living your goals as you set them. Because sometimes we just plan things and they don't come to fruition. But when you're able to actually set something and then actually complete it, that just makes life even sweeter. Right.
And everybody's probably, Stephanie's on the same team with Bree, but Stephanie earned where she was. She played extremely well overseas. If you check her stats and everything, she earned that. And she is that consistent player, just as consistent as Bree. Probably a little notch between them, but very, very consistent as far as when you check their stats. They're going to be doing what they're supposed to be doing. And you generally, like I say, if I don't see them rebounding and getting the steals and the assists and stuff, I'm like, a little few spaces here, right? There shouldn't be any spaces here. And generally they don't have any spaces, because that's just who they are. And you don't really have to say anything to them, because they know who they are and what they should be doing. And like I said, you're pros now. I'm just the mommy that sits on the side. So
wow. And watch your work. That's exactly what you do, Mommy. You sit back and you watch your work.
I can relax and look.
There you go. So basketball, as you know, is a mental sport. How important is it for athletes to train their brains, in your opinion, to not get caught up and just to focus? Like, in my opinion, in addition to basketball skills, that is one of the most important skills that these players need to have.
And that is the one thing that I've gotten from their agent, I've gotten from their coaches, that they were even overseas. And what they told me is that they are good people and good teammates.
Yes.
And that's what I've gotten from day one, from the time they started till now. I mean, like I said, I enjoyed being with my girls, even when we would travel when they were younger. And, as a parent, you look around and you see everything going on around you with other people pushing their kids. And I was like, we're here just to play. We're here to have a good time, to enjoy this. It's still work, but this should still be fun for you. It should be fun for me. And I'm not going to spend my time fussing and arguing with you. I can never ever remember them being in conflict with anyone as far as,
Yeah.
teammates. They've just been good people as far as, playing, and that mental toughness. They,
Yeah.
instead of being angry and fighting, and, they just play harder.
Absolutely.
When it comes down to it, hey, strap your boots up, and you just get tougher. And I think
Yeah.
that is that mental piece of, I know I need to be tough, and I will be tough. Whatever happens, I will be tough.
Mhm.
I mean, I looked at Stephanie last year when she went into a game and she dislocated her finger, and the play didn't stop, and or she didn't. She ran over to the trainer. The trainer put it back, and she went right back on the floor. And I was like, "You didn't get it wrapped?" And I'm standing at home like, "You need to get that wrapped." And
Yeah.
she's still out there playing because she knew how crucial those minutes were for her. She's like, well, mommy, I knew that there was 6 minutes left on the clock, and I wanted my 6 minutes.
Yeah.
It was more. So to me, I was like, all right, you are tough. You are a tough little bird. Because I
Yeah.
would have been standing there like, look, you're going to wrap this up before I go back. But
Yeah.
coach, I want to
Something.
go back. Coach, I want to go back in, but she's got to wrap this up.
I'd be like, y'all need to call it TV timeout. Hold on. So
But
talk.
but with Bree, I still have this one picture of her, and I see she's driving to the basket. She's reaching up, and you can see there's like 6 arms and hands just literally hanging on her body. And I think I was in the stands yelling, "That's a foul. That is definitely a foul." And there was no foul call for that. But the picture, showed up in the newspaper.
Yeah.
So
So it's like, really,
yeah.
three pairs of hands on my kid and nobody fouled?
Yeah, and but for her, what she learned, because that was a lot of people's way of, our players' way of stopping her, was to hang on to her or tug on her or hit her, was that I just have to be tougher. I have to be tougher than everybody else, because there a lot of times, until the officials get to know her and they found out that, oh, she's just playing basketball. She's not, you know, just bullying her way through people or anything.
Yeah.
She is a true basketball player. And once they realize that, they're like, wow, some of that they, would call the fouls eventually.
Yeah. Oh, me and calling fouls. Yeah. This year, my son, he got his nose broken. He lost a tooth. I swear, I don't know how this child didn't get a concussion. It's just, I don't know how many times he got hit in the face. Just recently in the playoffs, he was hit in the face and he was on the ground for a minute. It's just like, not one of them in any of these incidents was nothing. So it just floors me how these things are missed. But anyway, that's a whole other talk show.
Yeah.
So
and that's part of being that, that power center, or,
Yep.
power forward.
Yep.
Sometimes you got to take the licking and keep on.
Yeah. Keep on going. So you've been, like I said, coaching your daughters from when they were young, and now they're playing professional basketball. So how has basketball created a bond between you and your daughters throughout the years?
Ah, we spent a lot of time together. So I think we love each other a whole lot, because we were locked up in a car quite often. I can remember we drove from from here to Tennessee, because the boys were playing in Tennessee, and then the girls were in the car. And the girls and I went from Tennessee driving to Minnesota and back down to Texas. And that summer we spent, I think I clocked about 6,000 miles, then back across to Florida for basketball.
Right.
But we have a good bond. I mean, I love my girls, and I think they love me unconditionally. It's just, I don't know. We're mother and daughter. We are mother and daughters.
Love it. So Yeah, there's nothing better than our bonds with our children, right? They're
Yeah,
so meaningful, especially when we have this commonality, there's something that we can both share, right? Not every parents are into sports, right?
the what?
Not every parents are into sports.
And that,
So it's nice that our kids love this activity, the parent loves the activity, and together we mesh, you know what I mean? And you can
right.
enjoy on the same level. So that,
But I think still, it was still that understanding that you have other choices in life.
oh, for sure.
This is not going to, be end all for you. This is
Sure.
something you can do to enjoy. This is something to have
Mhm.
fun, and as a parent, I wasn't concerned about what other people thought about me or my children and how they were playing and what they were doing, and like I told them, I said, you do your best.
Yeah.
In each game, I'm not going to be here yelling and screaming at you at the end of the game. Why didn't you make that layup? Why didn't you do this? It was never any of that. It was always,
Yeah.
okay, well, you missed it. So what do you need to do? And most of the time, I really didn't have to say that to them because I knew they knew already.
Yeah.
They, just were basketball players.
I know
So,
I love how sometimes people or fans or parents run after the players after and say, you missed 6 layups and you did this and you did like they know they were there. They know. Like, what do you want them to do after the fact? They already know I missed this.
right,
They internalize it and like, listen, let me think about what I have to do to miss less in
right,
the future. And that's all it is, right? So a player can stay around the game forever, but certainly can't play forever. So when Brionna finally decides to retire, in your opinion, do you think now she'll go back to her degree in kinesiology?
uh, she has said that she didn't know if she would, go the doctor route, but because she wanted to keep playing basketball as long as she possibly could.
Yes.
So hopefully that will last for quite a while.
Yeah.
But she has said, possibly going back with physical therapy or something, to get in that field. And so we'll see what goes.
Yeah.
I, I don't know. They may have coaching in their blood. And if you listen to the conversations in the house with, the 4 children, a lot of times, I was like, my oldest son was like, oh, I'm never coaching. I'm never coaching. And he's coaching now. And I look up and he's going in and out of the house. He has an AAU travel team and he loves it. And I think they will all eventually kind of, work their way
Nice. Into coaching. You never know.
coaching. Yeah. I mean, it's what you've known in life sometimes too. And
Yeah.
they may find that, wow, I'm going to miss this if I'm not doing something
Right.
here. And this is my replacement is to, coach or, work
Right.
with children in, a different way or, college or even
I,
pros as an
I,
or who knows?
exactly.
Who knows?
So tell me, to date, what is the hardest part of you being a WNBA mom?
Not being able to make the game sometimes. That
Yeah.
makes me sad. I can almost cry now.
I feel you. Me too.
Because
Me too.
I I've I've always wanted to be there for my children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel you.
Um,
It's so hard.
yeah, that is, and sometimes if some parents are there and you're not there, it's kind of hard. So yeah,
I know.
that to me is probably the hardest piece. And I do try to make as many games as I possibly can,
Yeah.
but I can't
Yeah.
get
You
to.
can't always.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know what? I feel you. I remember when my son went to Turkey. And we would talk as often as we could. We would
yeah.
FaceTime and I would, try to give that mom support. You're going to be okay. It's just make, are you having fun? Are you enjoying yourself? And
Right.
what is it like? And we would talk. And years later, when now this is like what, 3, 4 years later, he's in Orlando playing with the Magic.
Right.
And he did an interview and he said, no one came to see me in Turkey.
Oh,
Oh,
and that's where I am too. Is
my heart broke.
Mhm.
And he wasn't saying it in a bad way, because he had a cousin that went to go see him. But I was like, why would he say that? Oh my goodness. Well, wait, we couldn't go. It's not that we didn't want to go. And it hurt my heart at first, right? And then we spoke about it after. And he was like, no, Ma, you're good. But just the fact that for me was like, wow, family really was missed, right? Because when these kids are overseas, and sometimes they're young and they live through so much. I remember he would always say to me, I would say, oh, we did a family dinner today. I wish you were here. And he'd say, oh, cool, send me pictures. And I noticed that all the time I would send pictures. So they're living through those pictures because they're removed from the family.
Right.
For a great reason.
Right.
But it doesn't change the fact that they would miss these, you know what I mean, family dinners or get-togethers or gatherings or weddings or whatever it is, right? So,
I'm just happy that they have that life, that they can have the opportunities. Even though I can't be there for everything, and mommy has to grow up too.
Yeah. I got you. And look at you now. Today, you're about to leave to go see Stephanie play. As you said, she just got signed with the Washington Mystics. Congratulations. Yeah. And then tomorrow, you're going to go see Bree play in New York as we're playing the Liberties. So are you ready for this season? Are you ready to see your girls dominate and do what they do?
Yeah. Well, Stephanie will be, as of right now, she's just on the short contract as far as just. Okay. But yeah, I am ready. I'm always ready. I'm, car is gassed up. Mm-hmm. I am ready to go. Plane ticket. I've already started looking for plane tickets. To make my trips to different places. I'll make a few.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I always make sure that I got the right tires on my car or money to get those flights because to watch our kids play as much as we can, because people understand as much as we can. That's very important.
It's still their job. So, can't always be there at their job.
So before we get into the fun facts, my last question to you is, what is it like for you to be the courtside mom to Brionna and Stephanie Jones?
Oh, I feel privileged that this has happened to me in my life, and that I'm here to enjoy, what they have, just being players in the WNBA, and it's exciting. It's exciting to see all the people around that enjoy watching my children play.
Yeah.
And that is part of my life. That when I go to the games, it's fun because people know you. They get to the point, and a lot of times I'll put on the jerseys to make sure people do know me.
I love that.
Yeah, but so that as I'm sitting around, people will talk to me, and I get to know people, and I can go different places, and because you make friends with different people from fans, and I mean, it's just it's exciting. It's exciting to be able to, walk back after a game and talk to your child and talk to them about the, what's going on in the game and everything, and enjoy dinner with them afterwards. So it is, to me, the best life ever. I would, continue to do it as long as I possibly can.
Amen. I say the same thing. And I have such a love and respect for WNBA. I've learned so much about the league over the past 3 or 4 years. And watching games is, for me, basketball is everything. So I'm actually excited this year that I will be able to make it to Mohegan Sun to watch the Connecticut Suns play, because the Mohegan Sun is actually just maybe 15 minutes from where I live now. Okay. So so I have to call you.
Oh, please do.
Yes, I will call you and say, son, I'm coming.
I go quite often. I would have gone this weekend, but with them going to Liberty and with Stephanie shifting to the Mystics, then I couldn't do it. But
you gotta be that courtside mom. You gotta help other places, right? Sometimes we're not at the games because we have to do other things, right?
Thank you very much for having me on your show. I have enjoyed it on the courtside mom.
Absolutely. Now let's get to some fun facts.
I didn't know. Some fun facts. Oh,
Before we close, let's do some fun facts.
okay.
Um, what are your daughters' go-to dish that you make that they must always have? If they were to come by tonight, what would you have to have on the table?
Uh, Gumbo. Gumbo, and probably lasagna. The Stephanie says they can't eat anybody else's gumbo but mine because no one makes it the way I make it. My family is from Louisiana, so I've got that Creole touch to it.
Awesome. You're gonna have to sneak some in to the Mohegan Sun.
And then they say they can't buy lasagna anywhere either because that I spoiled them with that also. They said my lasagna is like the best.
Aw. So, what is one childhood item they couldn't live without other than a basketball?
Oh, oh, one childhood item, books.
Yes.
They were little teachers in their room. I can remember them dragging their younger brother into the room saying, "You will learn today."
That's funny.
So yes, they always had books. They always had workbooks. They were little nerds. Is the best way to describe them.
That's,
They
that's
they
great.
spent their time studying and yeah, books.
I love that. Did they have or do they have nicknames? And if so,
Bree,
share them with us.
Bree. We call
Yeah.
her Bree.
I love that.
And Steph is just Steph.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we're going to ask some advice questions. What advice would you give to another courtside mom about how to deal with a coaching decision that she does not agree with?
I am not getting the paycheck.
Yeah.
I'm like, he's trying to keep his job. He's gonna do what he needs to do, or she's gonna do what she needs to do to keep their job. So if they feel like that is in the best interest of, for them, then, and like I said, to me, I can't, it doesn't change anything that, me saying anything or thinking, because, that coach is going to do what they're going to do. And it eventually works out, is what I say. And that's what I've always told the girls. It eventually works its way out. With Bree, she set the bench the first 3 years. And great. I mean, I would tell her, you are the best cheerleader ever, I said, if you're going to be on the bench, you've got to be the best at something over here, okay? So make sure you're the best cheer. And when I would call her, I said, wow, I saw you coming across there, and I saw you jumping up and down. I said, oh, you're a great cheerleader.
I love that.
So, I mean, I guess that's kind of been my motto, to enjoy whatever they're doing. If your job right now is to be the cheerleader, then be the best cheerleader that you can possibly be for your team. Be the best teammate that you can. Be the best coaching help if you're going on the floor. To help your team or teammates.
Sure.
So,
what advice would you give to a player on how to deal with a tough teammate?
Have conversations. I mean, I have the conversation with everybody. Has their side or their perception of what's going on. Talk with that person. If you can talk with that person, everybody's fighting for their job, and it still comes down to a job, and everybody wants to do their best at their job. So, how can I help you to do the best at your job? How can you help me be the best at my job? And then, what's the beef about? It's what's, what are we looking for? Is it control or, I don't know.
Yeah.
So I would just say have conversations.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's the one thing I think with my children that we've had is just conversations. We talk about things. I don't ever remember fussing and fighting with my kids. There's never Stephanie was probably my most strong-willed, but it was still nothing major as far as,
Right. Well, communication is key, right? When you're playing on a team and you and your teammate keep clashing, at one point something's got to give. You got to fix it because you have a whole season
Yep,
to
yep.
be
I,
together.
and I don't remember the girls clashing with anyone over the years.
Good,
You know,
good.
that I know of.
And hope they never ever
I hope
have to deal with that
no,
because it's not pleasant,
no.
right?
And
When you're feeling
that was the one thing that they said about the teams that they've been on, especially the Connecticut Sun, was that they enjoyed their team because of the camaraderie with the girls and how
right,
well they get along. And like I enjoyed, like last year when I would travel around, all the girls would be yelling at me, "Hey, Miss Jones, hey, Miss Jones." They were glad to see me. They were talking, they were happy. It was a happy group. Uh,
yeah,
they all get along. They all do things together. Not always, but they go places. They enjoy their time together. Mhm.
right. Okay.
They're good teammates.
That's what counts and that's what
And,
matters.
and and
So
and that was probably one thing that Bree was like, I'm glad I've been at the Connecticut Sun, was because we all get along. It's such a
right.
nice place to be,
Yeah. Good for you.
and the fan base, the
Of
fan.
course, of course, right? Second to none.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
they feel the gym.
Yeah. And my last question to you before we close is if you could only give one piece of advice to another courtside mom, what would that advice be?
Enjoy being on the sidelines. I mean, just
Mhm.
enjoy it. I mean, it's fun. This is,
Exactly.
you've done your work.
Yeah.
My work is done. I don't need to do anything. I mean, it's enjoyable to me. It's like the best life ever to me.
Mhm. Mhm. Good for you. And that's exactly what it is, right? And what it should be for parents, right? We did our work, we did our job, just
Well,
like you said.
they don't come to my job and tell me what to do.
There you go. There you go. Do they come to your job and cheer on and cheer for you as you're doing your work? So no, but I mean it's
Every now,
nice that
every now and then they do.
yeah. What I'm saying is it's great because as parents, you know what I mean, we instill whatever we can in our kids and then they just go forth into the
Yeah.
planet and they
And
do what
like I
they
said,
do.
I've done my job. My job
Yep.
was done quite a few years ago. So
Yep.
I'm just here with the camera, taking pictures.
Sit back and enjoy it. Like you said, and
That's it.
love every minute of
I
what your
love,
kids are
I
doing.
do love it.
Yes. So congratulations to you, son. Oh, I'm so happy for you. And I want to thank you so much for your time and coming on Courtside Moms and just teaching us about your daughters. It's so important for me that people understand the human side of our
Yeah.
kids.
Hmm.
That's right. That's right. Irregardless of whether they play, whether they don't play, what they do, what they don't do, that doesn't matter. You know
Yep.
what I mean? That
Yep.
here they are. This is Bree and Stephanie first before they are Bree and Stephanie the athletes, right? So we want people.
They are people. And
Yeah,
that
yeah,
and that's, the biggest piece that, you
yeah.
know, we're all human. So we make mistakes and
That's
it's
it.
okay.
We all make mistakes and we move on in life, right? So congratulations to you,
Thank you.
the
And thank you
awesome
for
mom.
inviting me. This
Of
has been the
course.
best.
And happy Mother's Day.
Oh, even better. Thanks. Happy Mother's Day to you too. And
Thank
congratulations
you.
on Kim.
Thank you.
Anything you want done, baby, I do it naturally.